KARN.
There goes the last DJ.
News Radio 102.9 FM.
Back with you, Dave Ellswick Show, KARN. With us for a while here on the Dave Ellswick Show, Congressman Tim Griffin joins us, District 2. Let's get him up. He's already ready to go, and then we'll break for our first traffic here quickly. Congressman, what's the big subject of debate today in the House?
Well, I'm going to make sure that it's Keystone, Keystone, Keystone as long as I can. You know, I am still befuddled by the president's decision on the Keystone pipeline. In fact, when I was home over the weekend, you know, we've all heard about Wellspun and the work they're doing on the pipeline, or maybe not doing now. But I learned of another company that was apparently on the verge of signing a contract, another company there in the district, and I'm getting all the details, but they were about to sign a contract to work, to do some business with regard to the Keystone pipeline. So, you know, this is not over. The TransCanada folks are going to reapply for the permit, and I'm just going to keep talking about this until we get our way, because this is a bipartisan deal. There's a bunch of Democrats as well as Republicans, of course, that are in favor of this. I mean, you know, labor unions are for this pipeline. I mean, a lot of us are scratching our heads going, what in the world? So I'm gonna try to keep it on the front burner as much as I can, because I think it's really important, not just with regard to the pipeline itself, but I think it represents a broader problem that I have with the president. You know, he runs around talking about job creation. Well, here you go.
All right. Well,
so you know, anyway.
But when we come back, let me ask you more about the Keystone in just a moment, because I thought it had been totally vetted out and environmentally and everything, and there was no big deal with it, and this was going to fly through. We'll talk about it in a moment. The congressman is with us. Of course, that's Tim Griffin. Let's get him back up online here on the Dave Ellswick Show. Congressman, the day before the president, said that they weren't going to continue on with the Keystone pipeline, didn't his own counsel on jobs and competitiveness say that this was the way to go, that the administration needed to be all in on developing all forms of energy?
Yes, they basically identified domestic energy production as a key source of job creation, private sector job creation. And look, you don't have to be a genius to see what's been on the news and just look around yourself in Arkansas, and you say, well, hey, we've had a lot of jobs that came out of the drilling. I think is it North Dakota? Yeah, North Dakota.
Yep.
Has an incredible boom going on, and what they want to get into is how many jobs it's going to create. They want to debate back and forth. Well, okay, I don't know exactly how many. The estimates are 20,000 direct. Keystone would create 20,000 direct jobs and 100,000 indirect. So what if it's off 10%? It's thousands of jobs that we don't have now.
Yeah.
I mean, you want shovel ready? Here you go. You want energy independence? Here you go. You want to be better off from a national security perspective because we're buying from our friends instead of people that don't like us? Here you go.
Yeah.
As opposed to giving China new jobs, which is what's going to happen, because TransCanada is going to build a pipeline out to the West Coast, and they're going to ship these oil sands to Asia so they can be refined.
I'm with you. This doesn't compute to me, and I have to just say this: if gas prices spike during the summer, which they will do, especially with the way Iran's acting, bottom line, the president's bought this one. This is his.
Well,
this one's his.
Yeah, and the thing is, here's before we went to break, you were asking about whether it was whether this has been approved and what have you.
It's all been vetted out.
Yeah, well, remember, this has been going on for 3 years. 3 years. The only thing that needed to be looked at were the variations that they made in the path, and there's no doubt that could be done. No doubt at all. And here's all you need to know about this, Dave. About, what was it, 4 months ago, when the president said this is going to take until after the election.
Yeah.
The question I wanted to ask is, well, how do you know it's going to take until after the election? He didn't say we're going to do it as quickly as possible. May take a month, may take 4 months, may take 8 months. We're going to do it as quickly as possible. He just came out and said, no, it's going to take until after the election.
Yeah, we probably can't get to it till December, I think is how he put it.
Well, yeah, he knew it was going to take until after the election because he was going to make sure that was the case. He was going to because he did not, and a lot of people are like, why would he do this? He is feeling a lot of pressure was on one side by the unions that he needs to win re-election. He was feeling a lot of pressure on the other side by the environmental extremists, which he needs to win election. And so his ideal political choice was to punt until after the election. And that's exactly what he planned on doing until the House Republicans demanded that the payroll tax holiday extension include this provision that said, look, you got to make up your mind in 60 days. And so now that's what he did.
And he said, but that was an arbitrary date line, and that's the reason that he was holding off.
Well, look, it's a joke. I mean,
I know.
It's a joke. Look, he either wants the pipeline or he doesn't. I went over to the Canadian Embassy, met with the folks there from Alberta and from the embassy itself, and they said, look, we want to do business with you. We want to build this pipeline in the United States. We don't want to build one to the West Coast and go to China. You're our friends. We do lots of business here in the United States. This is the way this is the way forward. But we're not going to allow a bunch of oil sands pile up and do nothing with them. We got to get them refined. We got to get them converted to energy. And you guys can do that. And if you're not going to do it, we're going to ship it to Asia. And you can't blame them.
No, you can't blame it. You can't blame them at all. Hey, we got to take a break. When we come back, I want to ask you about the State of the Union that happens tomorrow night. I'm asking everybody the same question. I'll ask you as well. If you'll just hold on with me, you do that?
Okay.
All right. Okay. Tim Griffin with us, Congressman, 2nd District. Be right back with him. As we show KARN to the bottom of the hour, we have the Congressman. So I got a couple more questions for him. Congressman, let me just ask this. The President gives his State of the Union tomorrow night. What do you wish he would say, and what do you think he will say?
Well, can I have more than one?
You can, you can do both of them.
Here's what I think he will say. First of all, I think he will be vague enough to lead some people to believe he's proposing some substance. That he really wants to get stuff done. He'll be vague enough, not a lot of specifics. He'll talk about investments, but what he means is spending a bunch of money. He will not propose anything bold. That's what I think will happen. What I like to happen?
Yes.
What I'd like for the president to do is come in there and say, look, I've been president for 3 years. I've done absolutely nothing to deal with the debt. I woke up this morning realizing, oh my gosh, we have a $15 trillion debt. We must do something now. I will work with you to reform programs that are going to end if we don't fix them, and to cut spending and get us on a path to a balanced budget. I'd like to hear that. I'd like to hear him say, our tax code is a disaster. I have run around bashing you about the tax code, but I've done nothing to help on it. I'm now willing to be a participant in reform of the tax code. I'd like to hear him say that. And then I'd like to hear him say, I know it's not April, but when I said I was against the Keystone Pipeline, that was an April Fool's joke. I'm really for it, and I want that pipeline to be built right now. That's what I'd like to hear.
Well, I know that's what you want to hear. You're not going to hear it, but that's okay.
Not going to hear it, buddy. Not going to hear it.
I know. Last
We're
question.
going to hear. We're going to hear. I'm sure he'll make a good speech. He's been great at giving speeches, but what I'm looking for are real, tangible policies, that can help with some of these big problems, and I don't see it.
How many times do you think he'll say economic fairness?
More than I can count.
I'm thinking of making that into a drinking game. I hope you know that.
Well, I won't be. I'll be behaving myself on the floor of the House. By the way, I invited a guest, Preston Scroggin, the county judge, Democrat county judge from Faulkner County.
Yeah.
He is flying up tomorrow, and he will be my guest for the State of the Union.
Wow, that's very cool. Final question for you, Congressman. The importance of this election. I mean, if we win the House and the Senate and lose the White House, we're still in the same position we were for the last couple of years. Yes?
Yeah, I mean, I know that politicians and pundits every so many years say, well, this is the most important election of your lifetime. This really is, because we are at a crossroads. There are two completely different visions of where we ought to go with this country. And, we're going to have an open debate about it. And then on Election Day, folks are going to decide, do they want to sort of go to a more European system, or do they want to remain different, innovative, leader of the free world, America? And I'm sure some folks are going, well, that's not the choice. Yeah, I think that is the choice. And, look, the president knows he's not going to win Arkansas. He lost by 19 points last time. He'll probably lose 15 to 25 points this time. So Arkansas, on the presidential level, is not going to be even close. Mm-hmm. But it's the rest of the states in this country, particularly the Ohios and the Michigans and the Pennsylvanias and the Floridas, and a lot of those that go one way one election and the other way another election. That's where the focus is going to be, and it is a big deal, and I cannot overstate how important this election is. And I'm going to keep doing everything I can to tell people that.
All right. Appreciate it, Congressman. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you all.
All right. Bye-bye.